Well, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends. Which, just to make a real quick thing on something, I gotten a comment about my intro like that, which they went like, boys, girls, non-binary friends, what about normal people? What about straight people? And it was that, what about normal people? All people are normal. There is no such thing as anything like a defect. If you go into science, biology, and all that, there's biologists that will tell you there's no such thing as a defect, there's just variance. Even somebody born with no arm, just one arm, that's not a defect, that is a variance in human activity. Even if you're born with, there's things that we would classify as defects, like a heart thing, where you're going to, there's a hole in your heart and you're not alive before you're 15 years old. We would sure call that a defect, but it's just a variant in heart formation that, in this case, made it so that it's not a variant that will be passed on. So there's not so much defects, there's this variance. Everything is normal. We're all on spectrums. There is no such thing as, there is not even alive and dead. After all, so much of our body parts actually aren't even quote unquote alive. There is so much things like collagen inside of our bodies that gives the elasticity to our skin. Collagen is a product of our cells, but it's not us. It's made by us. It's not alive. A lot of our bodies are that way. It's not alive, it's just stuff. So you can't even say, really, in a lot of cases, there's a black and white difference between life and death, because so much of our bodies aren't even alive. But without it, we wouldn't be either. So everything is shades of gray. There's no normal. There's just large groups of people around an, I'd say idea, but that's not right, because, largely there's, heteronormative is the norm, but that doesn't mean it's normal, because all you need is one person to be different, and that makes it so it's not normal. Everything is not normal. That other thing changes it. It's all level. We're all just shades. But I also wanted to talk about this, because I only got 8 comments in the last 24 hours, but that's life. But some of the comments are true about this thing. I talked about veganism yesterday and how that vegan teacher is right and wrong, and then I talked about nature and how nature is, and was told that that's a bad argument, and that's true, just going straight on that, because in the time since I said that, I had been thinking on my own to work on my full thoughts on that, because yes, nature is what the world does. Then you have to remember, we too are a part of nature. Everything is a part of nature. Things that are made by other creatures are still a part of nature. A dam in a creek made by a beaver is still natural. A termite mound that's 5, 6, 7 feet tall or more, made by termites, is still natural. It is a product of a being. The things we make, even the computers and the internet, is a part of nature because it is made by us, and we are a part of nature. This is the tools we use. And that's fine and good. It's good to be natural, but we also have brains, and, as all mammals do, and most creatures do, we have the ability to make decisions. There is no one straight, depending on your views of, your spiritual views, your views of the universe, but if you just point at a deterministic universe, there is no objective, right or wrong. You can't look in a book. It's all what we do and what we do with each other. But we know what is right and what is wrong. We know what is good and what is bad. Largely, of course, again, variances in people, variances in cultures, variances in societies, and what some people think is natural, others don't. We're all human beings. That's why we have to work these things out. But with our higher functions, we do have the ability to make moral and ethical decisions. Yes, it is natural to exploit other creatures in the world. And there are other creatures out there that farm other animals for their own not so wonderful purposes. It's not like we're the only ones, but just because it's done doesn't mean it should be. I mean, we know that it's wrong to make giant ovens and shovel millions of human beings into them, and then that we know that's wrong. We had a huge war about that sort of thing. And even though we're fighting it again in modern culture right now, especially here in the United States, we do know when things are right and when things are wrong, in broad strokes in that fashion. We do know that what we are doing with our poor animals on this world, with farming of our animals, industrialized farming of these poor beings, is wrong. At the same time, we need to educate people so that they can understand what's happening and what brings this to the table for them. The problem is, of course, especially here in the United States, all you have to do is say, we would like to make things a little bit better for the future, and you immediately have the right-wing propaganda talking about how the left wants to take away your hamburgers. So it's hard to talk to people when you've got, massive propaganda arms going on. Yes, it would be good to educate people so that they could understand, so that we could reduce this thing. It would be wonderful. I am for being a vegetarian. I am largely a vegetarian now, as stated. I think most people should be. I need to get more protein, but past that, I am for it. My body does not like to eat meat. So I understand, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with being a part of nature as long as you're a part of nature, because wiping out other things and causing extinction events is largely not a thing that goes on in nature. Again, if you're in the way of some animals, like these various very horrific ant types around the world, the soldier types that just wipe out everything when they go out, but even at that, the world still exists around them. Those things that can't move don't pass on their genes. The things that get away do, and so those things are better able to get away in the future for whatever reasons. But we can think, we understand, we know. So we need to make those kinds of decisions, proper moral and ethical decisions, instead of just blind, it's nature, therefore it's all right, because no, it's not. So those are my thoughts. Not a whole lot of being able to fully talk them out, but that's all right, because I also wanted to quickly flip over into some other things that I have been thinking about with the cosmic horror stuff. And yeah, I'd like to talk about this stuff because I enjoy being creative, and hopefully other people enjoy listening about these things. Because I have posited that we do not, where we are, when you are Gokura, as we are, out here especially in the Ungaden, the cold and dark, we do not have the senses to be able to see a lot of the things that are out there in the universe. Because out here where we are, there aren't a lot of them here. You have to move closer inward to the center of the multiverse, where there's a lot of extra energies, and so a lot of other things that are out there to perceive. We can't perceive them, they're largely not out here. But when those things do wander out here, Because with the introduction of the cosmic horrors and the I can't speak English, the abandonment of the infinite city and the way it is giving out its pain and horror and such, there is a lot of slippage and creation, well, generation, changing of energies and others, no creation of things, generation of other types of energies, and all these things moving around that things get wild and crazy inside of universes. So things come into our universe out here that shouldn't be here. Now, as a real quick thing, we are not born with a reading part of the brain. And in fact, I've talked about this before, when we learn to read as a species, our brain loves this so much that it's not stored like other memories. It is actually overwriting parts of your brain that were used for other functions. That your brain went, that part of the body can take care of itself. We need to learn this. And so it does. It overwrites parts of our brains just to learn to read. And with, I don't know where the studies are going and where the practice is going, but when Elon Musk's thing was putting implants on brain cells, brains love input, and the brain cells were actually healing up and moving up and growing around that stuff for better access. Our brains love information, and they will grow around places to get that information. So one thing that I posit is that with this stuff being introduced into somebody's life, as they try to take this path of power, one of the reasons that it is so fatal for 9 out of 10 people is you are having to physically grow new brain structures so that you can understand and interpret this information, and new receptors to be able to take in this sensory input. So it's having to overwrite parts of your brain, and it's making new structures. Now, I don't mean like huge things. It's just, a new bundle of neurons here, a changing of something in this spot there. But to do that, it has to overwrite parts of the brain. And it's already overwritten a lot of things. And so in a lot of cases, as your brain is trying to figure out what can overwrite, sometimes it overwrites something that it shouldn't. And then your heart forgets that it should beat. Sure, it's got a pacemaker, it'll beat on its own that way, but it needs input from your brain to beat in the proper rhythm. And without that, clunk. And when you're growing new brain structures, well, we do have a process in our bodies where new structures are grown, and it's called cancer. So when your body's growing these new structures, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you might be growing just new tumors in your head that grow and squish your brain against the inside of your skull, and that tends to be fatal too. So 9 times out of 10, you're not surviving this because your brain wants to learn and wants to do all this stuff, and it can be intensely fatal. But it can be done. That 1 person out of 10 is able to make the changes and survive, and that's a good thing for them. Thumbs up for that. Is there anything else? Because I really don't have a whole lot of space. Oh yeah, really quick, and thank you so much if you're still watching at this point, since the bulk of all people watching any videos usually click off before 3 minutes. If you're still watching, thank you so very much. Because my feet swell up so much, until I can get some new shoes I'm having to wear for short periods, because especially I had to go pay for my post office box yesterday. My feet were intensely swollen, and I still had to go pay for my post office box. So I did a lot of taping on my feet, and I put my shoes as wide as they could go, and I put my laces on and tied them as loose as they could be, and I made that walk, and there was damage, and it hurt, but I got it done. And so even like right now, while I'm not moving for periods, I'm having to put my feet inside of the shoes so I can keep the swelling in my feet down. Ugh. Lovely. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab so I can thank the less than 10 people who left comments in the past 24 hours. Thank you, each and every one of you that did. It is appreciated. Definitely a thumbs up on that. If I mispronounce any usernames, no disrespect is intended, and I doubt I'm going to lose where I am, but I count in American Sign Language, so hey. Confused Owl 29, hopefully I explained further my views. And Drifter, thumbs up and thank you. And Carter G, greatly appreciated. We have Cody Durham, thumbs up. Made in Canada, definitely appreciated and good to see you in the comments. Tekadon, thumbs up. We have Ben B, thank you very, very much. And Ice Damon, greatly appreciated. 8 people left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thumbs up and thank you all. You do get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people. After all, the first part of my vlog today was all because of comments. Thumbs up and thank you. Again, hopefully I was able to fully and properly speak out my views on this. So here's hoping. Anyway, though, I'm going to try, well, I got therapy today, so I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of the day after that. I'm going to try and get some stuff done, so thumbs up on that. Hopefully get a phone call or two made. We shall see. But for the rest of this, out there in the world, especially in the United States, we've got people that are taking an anti-parasitic, which while it has been shown to do some things for some viral stuff, it is not an antiviral, and so far has been shown to do nothing for any sort of virus that is a pandemic right now. So taking a horse dewormer, whether it is human dosage or not, is dumb. As well as just ignoring what's going on. Please don't be around large groups of other people, especially in enclosed areas. If you have to, please practice social distancing and wear a mask. Wash your hands often. Try not to touch your face. It is not a political thing. It is not a hoax. It is just a virus that wants to spread, and because of natural mutations among the unvaccinated and non-masked, it is getting worse. So please, just be careful, be smart, don't suffer. So until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is, quite frankly, a definite thumbs up.